Babysitting is supposed to be simple work, a few quiet hours spent watching over children while their parents are away. But behind the ordinary routine of snacks, bedtime stories, and television, some babysitters have lived through experiences so terrifying they still refuse to speak of them in detail. And one such story came from a girl named Danielle, who at 16 took a job watching two siblings in a large, suburban house on a Friday night, everything normal at first, with pizza cartoons and playful chatter, until the children finally went to bed. And as she sat on the couch doing homework, she noticed from the corner of her eye that the tall antique clown doll in the corner of the living room seemed oddly out of place, something she swore hadn't been there earlier when she arrived. Its painted smile frozen, its eyes far too realistic for comfort. And though she told herself it was simply part of the family's decorations, every time she looked up the doll seemed positioned differently, as though it shifted when she wasn't watching, first leaning slightly to one side, then appearing closer to the couch, and finally sitting directly across from her with its head tilted. And when she called the parents out of nervousness, the mother fell silent for a moment before saying in a low, panicked voice, "We don't own a clown doll. Get the kids and get out of the house now." And Danielle, trembling, rushed upstairs to find the children already awake, crying that the clown had been watching them from their doorway, and she fled with them into the night until the parents returned, later confirming they had no idea how the doll had gotten into the house, nor why it vanished without a trace by the time police arrived, leaving Danielle with nightmares that haunted her for years. Another chilling babysitting account comes from a boy named Ryan, who was hired to look after a family's toddler while they attended a wedding. The job seemingly easy as the little one fell asleep quickly, leaving Ryan alone with the quiet house. But after midnight, he began hearing faint scratching sounds from the baby monitor, soft at first, like nails on fabric, then growing louder until they became a steady dragging noise, and assuming the child was awake and restless, he went to check, only to find the toddler sound asleep in the crib, breathing peacefully, yet the scratching continued, now louder and clearly coming from the closet. And as he froze in the doorway, he heard something whisper his name from inside the darkened room, low and guttural, a voice far too deep to be human. And in blind panic, he snatched the child and bolted downstairs, calling the parents, who rushed home to find him pale and trembling, unable to explain what he'd heard. And though the closet revealed nothing but coats and boxes, the parents confessed they had recently heard strange noises themselves, sounds like someone moving around at night, but could never trace their source. And Ryan never babysat again after that night, convinced that whatever lived in that closet had been waiting for someone to notice it. The third story involves a young woman named Michelle, who agreed to babysit for a wealthy family in an isolated countryside home, a place beautiful but unsettling in its size and silence. And after putting the children to bed, she settled in the downstairs den with a movie, only to hear the faint creak of footsteps above her. And though she assumed it was the kids sneaking out of bed, when she checked their rooms, she found them both fast asleep, tucked tightly under blankets. Yet the footsteps continued, heavier now, pacing slowly back and forth in the hallway outside their doors. And when she called out, there was no answer, only silence, followed by the sound of something running quickly across the upstairs landing. Too heavy to be a child, and Michelle locked herself and the children in one bedroom until the parents returned, shaking and near tears. And when she told them what she heard, their faces grew pale as they admitted they sometimes heard the same noises when alone, footsteps in the night that seemed to wander the halls, but they had chosen to ignore it rather than face what it might mean. And Michelle left that night knowing she had shared the house not just with the children, but with something else, something that seemed to stalk the upstairs corridors, waiting for the quiet hours to come alive. These three stories Danielle's encounter with the mysterious clown doll that should not have existed, Ryan's experience with the whispering presence inside the toddler's closet, and Michelle's terror at the footsteps of an unseen intruder upstairs, reveal the darker side of babysitting, where vulnerability meets the unknown, where the silence of a house at night hides secrets better left undiscovered. And what makes them most disturbing is not only the fear of the moment, but the questions left behind. For Danielle never knew if the clown was human or something far worse. Ryan still wonders who or what called his name in that dark closet. And Michelle will never forget the deliberate weight of footsteps circling the children's rooms. Proof that sometimes the job of a babysitter is not just protecting children from the dangers of the outside world, but from the horrors that lurk quietly within the very walls of their homes, waiting for the night to fall and the adults to leave so they can make their presence known.